So I said, damn, I'm back in this bitch talking my shit to myself and shit. I really don't give a fuck, cause the truth, the thug has got to spit. 3GD, globe, God, and gravity. Deceptions of the world. Why is the United States always the fall guy for the fake shit, for the script, to continue to have us be born into this debt, this sin, this cesspool of so-called sin, this debt pool that we'll always have to pay the Mongolian and be in debt to him forever. Why is that? We know we ain't go to no moon. They went out there and came back with the technology from the so-called North Pole. They came back from the ice with the technology and end up racing to the moon and shit, racing Russia to the moon and all that old bullshit. Remember to turn my Bluetooth off. Why is that? I just showed y'all the fake moon shit. And so now when the world comes to the realization that that shit bullshit, which they probably never gonna do because they got all their calculations and shit from being educated within their motherfucking curriculum in these motherfucking U.S. institutions, they ain't taught us shit. This indoctrinated system of debt, of sinfulness, of not being the natural God you're supposed to be. Why is they always the motherfucking fall guy for the dumb shit? Because they own script. They're the Hollywood actors. See, they got Hollywood actors, but they are the actors for the Mongolian. The Mongolian running the script. It's all good, man. I'm just gonna keep dropping. Where did the United States, hold up, go to this one first. The first nuclear bomb was developed and possessed by the United States. How they come up with all the technology to do some shit? If they got the strongest military, why they old motherfuckers? Its creation was a result of a top-secret research and development program during World War II known as the Manhattan Project. Key figures responsible for the development of the weapon include J. Robert Oppenheimer, the scientific director of Los Alamos Laboratory where the bomb was designed, Major General Leslie Groves, the military leader who directed the Manhattan Project, the bomb and explosion type plutonium is that magnetic motherfucking rock contains plutonium. Now we was talking about that the other day, the plutonium that I think is in the center of this motherfucking shit with all the so-called nucleus, and they keep on hollering about Iran can't have nucleus and all that old bullshit. The script, device nicknamed the Gadget, was first successfully detonated by the U.S. during the Trinity test on July 16 in New Mexico. Okay, so that's why we supposed to be in debt for China for dropping those nukes over there in Mongolian land, over there in Red Sun land, right? That's why we supposed to be in debt. We supposed to be in debt for the cause and effect of years of defects among the people that's going to have to live amongst those nuclear grounds and shit where the nuclear shit supposed to fuck the grounds up and all that shit. So that's why I'm asking why we in debt to Japan. I'm just saying that's what I heard. And I got to go a little bit deeper into this shit, right? So then I go, and those are navigators, by the way, okay? Those are true navigators of the West Indies, okay? Those are true navigators and the true astrologers and the true builders, stone carvers and shit of the West Indies. Those are true navigators right there. Yeah, okay. Boom. Now let's go this way. Where did the United States of America get the materials and resources to make a nuclear bomb? The United States, uranium. Uranium. You see that? The United States acquired materials for its first nuclear bomb from the domestic sources and international partners, most notably the Belgian Congo. Where the Belgian Congo at? That's the Congos. They went down there and took over the British and the Congos, and where they getting plutonium and where they started the rubber industry, Goodyear, with the first Goodyear blimp and all that shit. The Gorge. The Goodyear blimp was the Gorge in Canada. The Brits, the one who owned you. The massive effort was the core of the Manhattan Project during World War II. Huh? Now let's go talk to my partner, because this is my righteous partner right here. They hate my partner, but this is my partner right here. Yeah, this is my partner right here. I fucked with this nigga the long way. Let's go see what my partner got to say about this shit. See what my partner got to say about this shit. Okay, let's go here. I do not own the rights to this video. This is my partner. I love this man.
If you live in Texas, don't buy that camera that's going viral to keep burglars away. Do this instead.
The Trinity and other nuclear test sites are nuclear bombs truly weapons of mass destruction, or are they really just weapons of mass deception?
Cat Williams said, who has weapons of mass destruction? Who has weapons of mass? They started getting on cat ass when he started exposing the fakeness in this bullshit. Because they went in there and doing that one that find no weapons of mass destruction. They keep on saying Iran can't have nukes, but it's sitting, y'all sitting right around the nuclear site right there. What's in that 33-degree radius that's supposed to be around this so-called fake-ass pole that's supposed to be a magnetic rock? You can't make up your mind what it is, but y'all unified around this motherfucker. What the fuck is y'all really got going on, United States? Y'all are just the fall guys. Y'all the dumbest motherfuckers in the world, and I can't believe my people are going to continue to listen to you and your motherfucking God or war, whatever the fuck is you talking about. They on script for the Mongolian. Y'all can't see this shit? Now let's go. Bag this shit up and let's ride. Let's go.
Are nuclear bombs truly weapons of mass destruction, or are they really just weapons of mass deception?
This reminds me of that man from the CDC being out down the scene with no hazardous shit on his face, no gloves on or nothing. He's sitting there, and people out there picking up hazardous bodies and shit. It's supposed to have Ebola, but since him being the director of the CDC, it doesn't affect him. It doesn't affect him. It doesn't affect him. He can be out there on the scene as a reporter, reporting on his own scheme, his own plot. Everything alleged on this motherfucker. Let's go.
Footage of alleged nuclear explosions, when analyzed with a critical eye, reveal undeniable evidence of photo trickery. In much of the early black and white test footage, filmed in the 50s and 60s, and shown on newsreels and fear-mongering films.
What kind of bomb that said? It said Tsar. Is that the Turks? Is that the Turks we was talking about, the Tartars we was talking about yesterday? And I told y'all to keep y'all eyes on. If we go to Belgium, aren't we going to see that double-headed eagle and where the Jews unite as Jews, and they split the 33. They split the 33 and they split, but they still working for the Mongolian, the ones, the leaders of technology. I'm just saying, let's go.
It is clear we are looking at fake model sets, complete with miniature houses, vehicles, and trees. Notice the unrealistic and unnatural perfect rows of disproportionately thin trees. After the flimsy model trees are blown to one side, the film quickly cuts to clips of actual trees in some other location. Similar to how a stunt double changes with the main actor during the crucial action scene, these clips...
You got to be able to see the camera. You got to be able to see the trickery. This is what Uncle Fed bring to the J4K community, the truth in the motherfucking booth. Let's go.
Intersperse, or sometimes superimpose footage of models with reality. The first H-bomb test, known as Ivy Mike, looks more like some stop-motion lava lamps than an explosion. Many other supposed nuclear tests appear to mix sped-up footage of sunrises with real explosions to give the effect of a much bigger blast. Footage from Operation...
But this is why they keep on faking wars with Iran. Not the Palestinians, not Israel, but Iran itself. This is why they keep faking wars with Iran. Let's go.
Dominic appears to show a sunrise with the brightness slider rising in post-production. Suspiciously, In some videos, the explosions are so violent as to obliterate entire houses in an instant. But yet the camera filming right next to the house survives unscathed and unshook. The blast often comes from behind the camera, and not, as they claim, from a protected location.
These old school cameras, so they got to be right there on set. They're not taken from satellites that they start trying to make you think. Cause there was niggas busting their ass up. How the fuck y'all send that film? Who the fuck waving on the moon telling y'all bye and shit? Y'all left that nigga up there? Man, get the fuck out of here. Camera roll. Green screen, but they got a big goddamn red black screen. The world script, what I try to show y'all, man.
Far outside the blast radius. Someone moves the camera just before and during some of the blasts, and the camera is positioned at an oddly unrealistic height. What kind of shielded tower would the camera and cameraman have to be enclosed in to survive such a test? If nuclear bombs actually exist, why would there be a need to fake footage of nuclear explosions? The Trinity and other nuclear test sites were admittedly first loaded with hundreds or up to 1,000 tons of dynamite. Footage
Is the plutonium the reason that the compass points inside that motherfucker? Because we know that's not a North Pole now. Remember I told you I was going to start thinking? And the more I think, the more I bring. But I'm going to leave you niggas alone, though. I'm going to leave you niggas alone. I'm going to leave you niggas to this shit. I'm going to leave you niggas to this shit. Is that the reason it's plutonium, electromagnetic? Those were from the first question I asked when I started busting this shit up. Now that I got Tartarian down and in their location. Now that completes my flat earth right there until I got them place Hawaii where they supposed to be. I'm gonna catch them.
Showing military men stacking gigantic piles of TNT and dynamite at nuclear testing sites. The official reason for this was claimed as, quote, footage of nuclear explosions.
If they got a nuclear bomb, what the fuck they need TNT for? What they need dynamite for? What they need dynamite for if they got nukes? The nuke's supposed to be hid in the ice. Huh? I said, huh? That my little white baby damn the dang. I gotta make sure I go run this over there on goddamn. Mr. DNA. Let's go.
The Trinity and other nuclear test sites were admittedly first loaded with hundreds or up to 1,000 tons of dynamite. Footage exists showing military men stacking gigantic piles of TNT.
I wonder what substance they put on those beams inside of those twin towers to bring them down demolition style, straight down. Evidently they had the same shit inside of that motherfucking third building that no airplane ever hit. But the building dropped anyway, and they collected insurance 2 times because they had 2 strikes. Do it, United States. Put on. I put on for who? For my Mongolian. I'm gonna put on for mine too. Hurry up, nigga. It's time to get back to work. Fuck these hoes. Let's get it.
TNT and dynamite at nuclear testing sites. The official reason for this was claimed as, quote, comparative purposes, where the blast from hundreds of tons of stacked TNT would be compared to the nuclear bomb. With each team sent to separate islands, each stacking piles of explosives, but both told that the other island would have the actual bomb. It would be simple to deceive the very men creating the deception. Mushroom clouds are not unique to so-called nuclear weapons and can be formed with enough TNT, dynamite, regular bombs, and other explosive materials. Later, supposed nuclear tests like Able were likely done using very large but traditional bombs, and the Baker test done using hundreds of tons of submerged dynamite in a vessel underwater. Nuclear fission occurs by bombarding uranium-238 with neutrons to split the nucleus and create the isotope uranium-235. During this split,
that's the way they split the cell, the cone. embryonic cell clone. That's how they split it. Ain't that right, Hitler? And that's why you had twins or whatever. That's why twins were so important. For you to take down the effects that, you know what I'm saying, that it takes on one and not the other. That's the way it split the nucleus.
Mass is lost and converted into kinetic energy, which is known as nuclear fission. If each of those neutrons then goes into another uranium nucleus, causing more fission and many more neutrons, this creates a theoretical process known as an explosive nuclear reaction. Enrico Fermi's famous nuclear chain reaction test was done by stacking massive amounts of graphite and embedding balls of uranium.
All these sciences are full of deceptions. And they creating disease and putting patents on the disease before they put them out. Let's go.
Within, so that when the neutrons started flying through, they would be slowed by the graphite, collide with the uranium, release more neutrons, and then those neutrons would continue in a chain reaction pattern. This achievement, which was only detectable by Geiger counter, meant that the fission process could be sustained, but in no way proved the possibility of a nuclear explosive chain reaction. In reality, all explosions are gas-related.
How does TikTok forms a threat to our nation's security? See, this is the kind of dumb shit that Trump comes with. He's just a puppet. He's just a nominee. He's just a front man for Israel. And Israel is a front man for the Red Sun. The true deceivers of this world is behind these motherfuckers. And once you can see the United States is full of alleged, everything alleged on this bitch.
Explosive chain reaction to occur, there would need to be an explosive gas created or added. The byproducts of nuclear fission are 94% heat and 6% radiation. No gas whatsoever is produced by nuclear fission, and so there can be no massive destructive blast. Furthermore, to achieve intense heat from nuclear fission, millions of atoms need to be split in a chain reaction, which requires a moderator to slow down free neutrons. No such moderator is included in nuclear bombs, and even if it were, there is no test evidence that even this would result in an explosion. Recently declassified minutes of the Manhattan Project's Interim Committee meeting on May 31st, 1945, reveal that America had insufficient uranium to build the atom bombs supposedly used on Japan just a few months later.
What? Supposedly used where? And that's why we supposed to be in debt to those Mongolians forever. That's why we go to work and pay taxes to these bitches that we can't repay. And you not motherfuckers up under slavery, nigga. Slavery, a month slavery, onto my script, a month strip, I'm from a psyop, a month psyop, a month psyop.
Director of the Met Lab at University of Chicago, who oversaw production of enriched uranium and plutonium for the bombs, was quoted stating it would take another 3 years to produce the amount needed for the bombs. Yet just over 3 months later, America supposedly successfully produced and deployed 2 on Japan without being tested. Enrico Fermi stated they would need 1/2 to 1 ton of enriched material to create a nuclear bomb. Natural uranium metal contains concentrations of 99% U-238, 0.7% U-235.
Excuse me, sir, but I still want to raise the question. Why does the real compass points towards north, and north being the center? Why does the original compass points toward north? How could Iran not be able to have nuclear sites? How could motherfucking Trump they took my whole video. I can't find it nowhere when they were saying that he was trying to get out of the contracts that he had told that he had contracts, business contracts, that those people can goddamn continue their nuclear science and whatever the fuck. You know what I'm talking about? And now he want to bag out of those contracts and take them to war. Like I told you, he was setting his nights up for the next script. Okay? Alleged, everything alleged on this motherfucker here. Let's go. Section 107, whatever the fuck. Yeah, Section 107. Leave my shit alone.
And 0.3% U-234. Therefore, to obtain 1 metric ton of U-235, you need 142.8 metric tons of natural uranium. And for each metric ton of natural uranium, you need approximately 1,000 tons of uranium ore. Supplies of such uranium ore are certainly not unlimited, and especially in the 1940s were in short supply. The Manhattan Project Interim Committee minutes specifically mentioned that even reactor-grade uranium was in short supply and wouldn't suffice. Yet just 3 months later, the bombs were somehow ready and dropped. The footage we were shown of the supposed nuclear blasts at Hiroshima and Nagasaki show what appear to be 2 superimposed smoke plumes atop one another, in an attempt to make the mushroom cloud look larger. Rather than making the blast look bigger, however, it looks more like some secondary blast began mid-air. The footage of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki explosions look very
Goddamn Twin Towers. Goddamn Twin Towers.
different from the many other test examples shown previously, each of which also looked very different from one another.
All those people inside this 9/11 strip that they knew they was gonna bring those buildings down. All those people kept saying, we heard explosions, and all those people were laid off by the FBI and soon to be killed, allegedly, and soon to be unalive, allegedly. And then they started trying to make it seem like motherfuckers who breathed that shit was dying, but all those people was out there, they didn't die. And so now they got to start killing the rescue workers that's not a part of their psyop. Now they got to start killing the firemen. And they start saying that the firemen and the rescue workers was dying because they inhaled some shit. But they got the masks on. These people out there with no masks or nothing on. They ain't died. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? Alleged. Everything alleged on this motherfucker up under this 9/11 dictator. Yeah, 45th and 47th president. That's why they made me look crazy when I say he wasn't coming out of there. They had to line the numbers up. Got everything by the numbers now. Let's go.
reality, Hiroshima and Nagasaki were firebombed, just like Tokyo and many other Japanese cities. When footage of the aftermath is analyzed, it is clear that the destruction is consistent with traditional carpet bombing and not from a single nuclear explosion. If the damage shown in footage from the aftermath of Hiroshima and Nagasaki was actually from these nuclear bombs, there would be a single central circular blast radius showing the most destruction at the center point, with gradually less expanding outwards. The debris...
Hold up. You mean like a shack crater? You mean like that shit I was showing y'all the other day, how that crater looked, and I told y'all? You mean it would have a circumference like that in the center of that motherfucker, like a Nyan shack crater? A Nyack. Chick-chai. Don't play, don't play. Y'all do.
The direction of destruction should all face outwards from this central location, and there should be an obvious blast crater at the site of impact.
Oh, he just said it. This is my first time listening to it. Oh, it should be a crater. Like that Nyan shack crater they say come from a motherfucking volcano. How the fuck a volcano cause a crater in the earth like that? So once again, I ask, why do that motherfucking compass point towards that fake ass magnetic rock? And yeah, you're trying to get away from that because this is one of y'all locations that y'all try to deceive us with this North Pole and try to create ice right there. But your ice is out far east, and our ice is far west, which is called Antarctica. Let's get it.
In World War II propaganda films, you can see footage of scientists pointing to the exact...
Propaganda? You must drop propaganda all over the battlefield to make the people hate your enemy. That was done to Unfed on YouTube by this military motherfucker, correct? Correct. Let's go.
Spot where the nuclear bomb supposedly landed on Hiroshima. Yet the area looks no different than any other, and has no discernible blast crater. The damage immediately around the point of impact is no worse or more pronounced than anywhere else. The destruction found throughout the two cities is in fact consistent with traditional firebombing, with all smaller wooden buildings decimated and only a few larger stone and reinforced concrete structures still standing. The propaganda films claim to show buildings with windows blown in one side and out the other, or Hiroshima Bridge having the paint burnt off only one side. But these examples are clearly cherry-picked to give the illusion of a single blast, when the overall destruction is similar to every other firebombed Japanese city. There is also no evidence of long-term radiation damage anywhere in Hiroshima or Nagasaki. According to the experts, there was to be radiation and nuclear fallout for thousands of years.
Y'all remember the videos Uncle Fed was making with the
affecting people, plants,
get with that little mushroom effect. Yeah.
Animals, and every living thing in the vicinity, causing generational deformities and a veritable death zone. In reality, however, flowers, grass, and other plants started growing back within a month, and radiation levels have dropped in.
What? The radiation levels from the nuclear bomb supposed to cause effect for years and years and years. That's why our debt grows for years and years and years. That's why we're enslaved to the Mongolian by way of this motherfucking UK. Mr. Englishman. That's why I give a fuck about pronunciating my words and all that shit, because I know all this shit is bullshit.
Both cities recovering to normality within years. Hiroshima and Nagasaki are now bustling modern cities, 80 years later, with no remnant of nuclear destruction. The people there are not all born with deformities or chronic ailments, and there is no dangerous radiation or fallout to beware.
It ain't.
Radiation exists and remains present in an area after any and every explosion, not just supposed nuclear ones. So if you drop a bunch of bombs or blast a ton of dynamite and bring a Geiger counter, you will certainly register radiation, but it will not.
Shouldn't these motherfuckers who started all this rocket, who they get all this technology and shit from, shouldn't they been the first one to go to that motherfucking lunar, to that moon? Why they trick the United States to goddamn do this shit? Because we the ones looking crazy to the rest of the world whose eyes are wide open. I mean wide shut. Close their eyes to this shit. Why the United States got to keep being the fall guy? Because you in the belly of the beast and you has chose to be the fall guy. And you got the illusion that you have the greatest military in the world, but you owe motherfuckers. I got the world's biggest gun, but I owe niggas. The fuck? And the deficit continues to grow and grow upon your generation, your children's children, your children's children's children. Mr. Aboriginal, Mr. West Indies. North America is the West Indies. No, North. It's the northern part of the Americas, the true Americas.
Linger for centuries or millennia, like nuclear radiation is claimed to do. As for the explosions which occurred at nuclear power plants like Chernobyl and Fukushima, these were gas explosions caused by the buildup of hydrogen, and not nuclear explosions. In fact, it is impossible for a nuclear explosion to occur at a nuclear power plant. Only gas explosions. Today, in Fukushima, you get more radiation from the backscatter scanners at the airport security gates than you do from their so-called nuclear disaster.
What?
The way nuclear power works is essentially just using hot radioactive material to boil water and generate steam, which drives turbines and creates electricity. One of the leading nuclear physicists in America, Galen Windsor, who was responsible for helping set up most of America's nuclear power plants, was a vocal whistleblower on this subject. He said nuclear power is really just the cleanest and most economical way to boil water, and that all nuclear power plants are essentially and practically just...
So they poisoned the water on purpose, and when they did the underground shit, they really was cleaning the water, huh? Don't you boil water to goddamn... when the water be fucked up, don't they tell you to boil your water first and then drink it or and bathe in it and all of those shit? Come on, talk to me.
Steam power plants.
Bag it up.
In his lecture tour, who was responsible for helping set up most of America's nuclear power plants, was a vocal whistleblower on this subject. He said nuclear power is really just the cleanest and most economical way to boil water, and that all nuclear power plants are essentially and practically just steam power plants. In his lecture tours he gave all across the country, Galen Windsor would talk about how he and other early nuclear physicists would regularly hold uranium, plutonium, and radioactive waste with their bare hands without any ill effects. He quipped about taking swims in
the same way the CDC director was out there with their Ebola with nothing on, all that shit, doing this little propaganda psyop. Man, we the dumbest people in the world, man. That's why they treat us as such. That's why they treat us as such. That's why they treat unfair fucked up on this motherfucker. I'm the dumbest nigga in the world, man. Saying they sent the military nigga to me off the rip. So this nigga talking about the secret. This nigga talking about the organs, the kidneys and shit. This nigga talking about mobile labs and shit. Fucking with Obama and shit. We didn't think nobody was gonna come out on the Kanika Jenkins case and come out and just expose all this kind of shit. Not just the psyop, but he's gonna expose. He's exposing all kind of shit. Fair, you be on some crazy shit. You be talking about all kind of shit. You be connecting that shit, Where my folks at? Huh? FEDZBACK. Huh? Why the United States the Fallguy for the fuck shit? For the fakery. And you niggas sit up reading newspapers and shit, looking at this shit on CNN. I keep telling these folks that said they ain't gonna tell you the truth about it. I'm showing you that all this shit is propaganda and fake shit. Let's go.
Nuclear waste pools to prove they weren't hazardous. And when his colleagues refused to believe him, he began drinking a glass of water from the pools in front of them every day. In footage from his lectures, you can watch Galen open a tiny canister of radioactive material, supposedly dangerous enough to cause an EPA disaster area 1 mile in radius, contaminating everyone in the building. He holds it in his bare hands, runs a Geiger counter over it, which registers off the scale, licks all the radioactive material onto his tongue, tests it with the Geiger counter again, and swallows it. Galen Windsor did this demonstration for years, with no ill effects, and lived into his 80s. After trying to blow the whistle with his lecture tours, the government confiscated his nuclear material, sent the SWAT team to his house, and began harassing him legally. He was quoted saying, "There is no such thing as nuclear waste, only material created in a nuclear reactor to be recovered and used beneficially. High-level waste is radioactive and self-heating, and so reusable uranium fuel fits that definition. But if you disregard its intrinsic worth, then it would fit the definition of high-level waste. But let's say there is no high-level waste, and only material to be..."
Oh, Goodyear and Yokohama tires. Nigga want them Yokohamas. Huh? The rubber industry there. Huh? The gorge. We're going to get into it one day. I doubt it, because y'all ain't not shit.
Recovered and used beneficially. Then what's the low-level waste fiasco? That's an excuse for a federally mandated, non-inspectable disposal system so that organized crime can get rid of any evidence they want, and it can never be dug up again. There are allegedly stainless steel containers buried in concrete under the ocean, boiling with hot radioactive material for 2,000 years. The production, storage, transportation, and disposal of nuclear materials is incredibly expensive and secretive. Protocols for dealing with nuclear waste materials involve allegedly burying it deep into the Earth's bedrock through such extensive, expensive procedures. In reality, as Galen Windsor showed, these nuclear materials are not nearly as hazardous or toxic as they are made out to be, and the over-the-top, secretive disposal methods likely double as black-budget, black-op covers. It provides the military-industrial complex a never-ending blank check for themselves to dip into taxpayer money. At many times during the nuclear arms race, America spent upwards of $50 million per day on nuclear weapons-related expenses. nearly rivaling NASA's huge budget. It is no doubt that incredibly high-powered ballistics, bombs, and missiles all exist, but the specific claim of nuclear weapons and nuclear explosions, which require fission, a nuclear chain reaction, and result in destruction on a scale far beyond conventional weaponry, is patently false. Nuclear fission simply does not produce any kind of gas necessary for such an explosion, and no moderator to slow down free neutrons is.
So why is it so important for Iran not to have nukes and all that shit and President Trump was in goddamn trying to bag out of contracts that they had promising those people they can finish their development of their nuclear sites, and then they go right in there and bomb their nuclear sites. And then when you go over there and watch where they bomb their nuclear sites, it's no craters like the Nine Shack crater. I knew. He was on bullshit.
Included in nuclear weapons. Declassified documents suggest the American government was years from having enough U-235 to produce the bombs allegedly dropped on Japan. Film analysis of Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and nuclear test footage show countless anomalies pointing towards photo trickery and deceptive wartime propaganda. Radiation levels quickly dropped, and the destruction attributed to 2 nuclear explosions looked no different from the neighboring towns and cities destroyed by aerial firebombing runs. The stories of the little boy and fat man bombs were just the myths necessary to create the scaremongering Cold War arms race that would soon begin. The threat of any nation being able to push a button and destroy entire cities or countries.
They even use the kamikaze type pilots for the so-called terrorists. They're supposed to run into them business. Hey, those from Japan shit. Those probably Japanese pilots doing some shit like that. Now they want to send a goddamn Arab. He's that bold and shit. They just kill himself for Islam and shit. War on terror. Let's go.
Is a perfect, terrifying excuse for America to enter and make war with anyone that supposedly harbors or develops nuclear weapons. Since the early tests, alleged nuclear explosions have continued to get larger and larger, while the payload continues getting smaller and smaller, to the point we are now supposed to believe that they can be carried in a suitcase.
Goddamn, carried in a suitcase. We're gonna get up out of there, and once again, I'm gonna go show you what make you a slave. Go right over here, and I want to show you that again. I want to show you they're dead again, and I'm gone again because I'm Black Shadow and all that old shit. Where do they get the materials from? Where did the United States get? Where did they get it from? The Belgian Congo. Belgium. That's that black and gold flag I told y'all. Canada. The Brit, UK, Okay. Now let's go over here and see why we so sinful and we so born into debt and born into the sin of this so-called God of war that loves the war and shit that y'all gonna keep on supporting and believing in their gods and Jesus and all that other shit. Okay? That a contraption. That a contraption. I gotta go show y'all this shit again. That took me backwards. What the fuck happened there? I'm trying to go show that shit. Don't do that. I'm trying to go show this shit again. And why I keep taking me? Why I keep doing it? Why I keep doing that? I got more shit in that. Oh, it keep jumping, y'all. It keeps jumping, y'all. What the fuck? It keeps jumping, y'all. What the fuck? I want to go show what I want to show now. So I guess I got to go here, boom, there, boom, there, boom, there, boom, like that. Okay, boom. Now let's go. You want to do it to me again, like that? You see that shit? It won't let me go show that no more. Ain't this crazy? Let's do it like this. Let's do it like that. And then let's go there. Let's go there. Let's go there. Let's go there. Like that. Huh? And then let's do it like that. Okay. And then let's scroll up like that. Because I know it's in there. Okay. Stop playing. I want to show the debt. I want to show the debt. There it is right there. Boom. Okay. Why they wouldn't let me scroll back to my shit? Why they wouldn't let, nah, I don't want to do that. I just want to get off the screen. Just want to tap it. Why they won't let me scroll back to my shit right here? America owes the national debt to both public and private U.S. and foreign entities, with the large portion held by domestic investors, including U.S. citizens, banks, and the Federal Reserve. And a significant amount held by foreign government and investors, particularly Japan. Why the fuck are we in debt to Japan forever? Why the fuck are we in debt to China for this fake ass shit? For this propaganda? Alleged. Everything is alleged on this bitch. Where's my girl Kai Kai? It's 11:11. She'll be at 10:11 at night. Hopefully. You know what I'm talking about? But listen, everything is alleged. But this is your U.S. debt. And this is what Unfed was uncovering. But right before the Kanika shit, I was following the money, the PC, the pocket change. Follow the money. Know the deception when you see it. Watch out for the camera rolls. And most importantly, watch yourselves, man. Aboriginal, indigenous, that's my motherfucking phenotype. West Indies. North America is not sitting in the north with them hoes, but on the globe you are. That's what put you in the belly of the beast. Until that bitch and let them know they on top of your shit. And then it came across that K9 line. And we are protecting the corners now. Yeah, we twisting that bitch back. We reversing the Masonic tip, the Illuminati tip, the clip. And it's Illuminati to the death, 3GD, melanation 3GD. Who fucking with Unc? Damn. Y'all know what I say. I said boom, right? If you come across this video, please share. You know what I'm talking about? To the Aboriginals. Yeah. More land. They want more land and more land and more land. And they in cahoots. I said, boom. Nuclear, boom. No nukes. No nukes. I wish I could go into my motherfucking paperwork where I was saying, right, where they saying that nukes supposed to be right down there by Antarctica and Australia and that land down there. That's what it's supposed to be nukes, but there's no nukes. Yeah. The ancestors gave me all this shit, nigga. I don't play. I said, boom. That's what I told Nunu. When I come back, I'm gonna bust this shit up. Because I'm gonna have the ancestors with me, nigga.